Hey everyone, it's Andre Luck again. I'm here for my second video for week two. Last week I shared my story from student ticket seller to vice president of Major League Baseball, and the response was great. I appreciate all the feedback, the notes, people I used to work with. It was really cool to kind of reflect on that and also get other people's takes on, you know, steps throughout my career and where they see the industry kind of headed, and had some good conversations over this past week. And to keep going with the weekly theme, this week I want to talk through where I see the future of ticket sales going. And I'll set the stage with this. This is just my opinion. This is just what I've seen from my time in baseball, the peers that I've spoken to, those that work in areas that touch maybe ticket sales in sports, but maybe aren't actually on the team side. And overall, just high level, there's a movement towards more efficient growth and more efficiency in your day-to-day outreach from a team member perspective. And I think a lot of that comes from the data and insights that we get through technology, because we have more data now. We can look and see, all right, what's our most profitable way to run a sales organization, and what activities and actions and motions that we have our sales team take on a day-to-day basis, like what's bringing the most effectiveness, what's bringing us the most results. So now it's not a feel or a gut thing. We can actually use data and focus on profitability. So it's not just get as much revenue as possible, but make sure that we're doing it at the right cost. We have the appropriate headcount on our sales team. We're compensating people appropriately, whether it's we used to be paying people too high or too low. What's that sweet spot that we can run an efficient business unit and hit our goals in the short term, but also build for the long term. So that's a common theme I'm seeing in sports, out of sports, is that idea of efficient growth and profitability, and taking those data and insights to really put together a sound data-driven plan that can help the sales team really grow and develop and hit the targets in the future. And along with that, breaking down the silos. There's the sales team, there's the customer success team. A lot of times in sports, that's season ticket retention, or your sales or your service and retention team. There's the marketing team. There's your business analytics and that strategy. Like, that kind of makes up the revenue part of the organization, along with your sales ops, your marketing ops, ticket ops, things like that help support those revenue driving functions. And then with that, now you're starting to see more, heads of finance and, the president and CEO really involved in that strategy day to day, and that, kind of integrated go-to-market team at the executive level, like architecting from the top down, like what's our strategy for hitting the targets that we want to hit. And then underneath that, each department kind of fills in their goals. So today I'll focus solely on that sales, that customer success piece that we're familiar with within ticket sales. And this is more towards sports, but again, this could probably extrapolate out to other businesses as well. For me, from where I sat as the head of a department, I saw a lot of effort go into outbound, and I think there's a debate out there, a lot on LinkedIn, a lot just in the sales world, like, is outbound dead? And I definitely don't think it is. There's definitely a need for it. It brings in 20-30% of revenue for most teams and most sales teams and organizations. But there is a movement to, how do we make sure the outbound outreach that they're doing is the most efficient? How do we drive more inbound, so that, if it took you 100 leads to get to one sale through your outbound efforts, could you close the same amount of revenue with 10 inbound leads? And is it more efficient to put your efforts towards marketing and driving more inbound leads that way, but maybe calling less outbound leads? I think from a sales rep perspective, I would definitely enjoy that. That means not necessarily you can just kick your feet up and just relax, but the conversations you're having are just better. People are more informed. People are coming to you with interest. They're hand raisers, opposed to trying to find those people and seek those out. I think there's a blend, and I think if you're doing it appropriately from an outbound perspective, you're targeting specific accounts that maybe match your ideal customer profile, or accounts that you've seen success selling to in the past, and here are some that are like that. So it's an easier conversation than just randomly pulling up Zoom info or whatever database that you use to extrapolate leads and saying, all right, I'm just going to call 100 heads of marketing this week, but having a little more strategy and thought behind that process. But if you work with your marketing team, work with your analytics team to kind of architect that strategy, you can be a lot more smarter, and you can be a lot more efficient with those efforts on a day-to-day basis. So that's one thing. I see a movement to drive more inbound and push more inbound. I think that starts on the marketing side of educating through videos, through content, through testimonials. Some are even pivoting to doing podcasts and having their executive leaders do thought leadership on social media and LinkedIn and through YouTube and videos, and like at the top kind of evangelizing what their product is or what the services they provide, because they have such a reach, they have such a following, they're trusted in their communities as thought leaders. All that is creating movement and action and motion where maybe people aren't buying yet, but when they move in market, they do think of you because they did see what you were posting regularly on LinkedIn, or they did see a podcast that highlighted one of your executives and how you work with businesses and things like that. So that's the focus. This is more specific to B2B. I think a lot of this can apply to B2C as well. But that movement, working hand in hand with sales and marketing and business analytics to architect that strategy to get more people to come to you. There's the stat out there, it's anywhere from 95 to 99% of your target accounts you're trying to sell to are not in market to buy. So if we go straight to a sales motion or a pitch, they're not ready yet. And a lot of consumer behaviors are changing where they want to reach out to you when it's their time that they want to buy. For me, I don't want to talk to a salesperson, which is ironic, right? Until I'm at the point. I'll do my own research, I'll find out all the information I need to. It's all out there now. 10, 15 years ago, the information wasn't out there for buyers and consumers where you had to talk to a salesperson to get that information, where that's not the case anymore. So you could do all your research on the front end and talk to someone when it's your time to talk to them. And I think that's going to shift the way that we architect sales teams, because there are more people coming to us, hopefully in this scenario, and it's not so much wasted effort or resources on outbound outreach to people that maybe don't want to talk to us yet. You could see a movement where sales teams get smaller. I'm not saying you get rid of your sales team or you cut the most junior people. You take those things that they were doing, the activities that were providing very low results or yielding very low outcomes, and take that time that they were spending on that and put them towards other resources. Could they do more research and posting on LinkedIn? Can they be more thoughtful with the outreach that they are doing? If they were heavily B2C, if they're like an inside sales rep or a junior rep, do we let marketing handle a lot of those B2C efforts and then have them focus more B2B? And you're learning very early in your career how to talk to maybe small businesses, presidents, owners at small business companies that have the income and have the budget to purchase sports tickets. But I see that as something that, starting out in someone's career, there's going to be more of a focus on that because there's less of a need maybe on some of the activities they were doing in the past that, can be a little more automated, could be a little more streamlined through a marketing effort. So going hand in hand with that, as more people are, coming to you ready to buy, hopefully, marketing's helping drive more inbound leads for the sales team. There's going to be a bigger need for just high-level sellers that can meet somebody where they're at and assess, all right, they're very early in the buying process and have that conversation versus they're vetted, they're ready to get to a deeper conversation and really maximize that opportunity. You want your best inbound opportunities going to your best people because they can really capitalize on that. They're not going to be order takers. They're not just going to take what comes into them. Like, they're going to take that and really assess the full opportunity that's there, cross-sell, spider web, find other opportunities within that account that's reaching out and look to grow that. So I think, with that high-level seller and that more specialized B2B sales role that, gets created in the future, this is probably that person that historically, as you move up through your career within sports sales, if you didn't want to go the management route, you kind of almost had to get out of sports. And there are a lot of people who are built to continue to lead in some capacity, maybe not lead people, but be leaders within an organization. and they love selling. They love making money through commission, and just get paid a bunch just to sell and make a huge impact on your business. But they're not cut out for. They have no desire to be a manager. So I see teams, starting to build out roles where you could just be a high level seller. You sell corporate tickets, you sell sponsorship packages. We see it on the tourism side too, and some of those more niche, specialized type roles where those are getting created with people that very high level of proficiency and experience, but maybe aren't necessarily directly managing people. And those are big gains for your business because you want those people. You want them to stay with your organization because you're not getting that turnover year over year. And you have someone who's producing at a very high level with a very high business acumen, instead of turning it over with the newest, junior rep that's coming through inside sales right out of college, and you just have that, continual turnover and churn within your sales team. And I think lastly on this topic, if that's the movement where I don't think it'll ever be 100% marketing-led motion, but as you start to shift more of full outbound sales outreach from the sales team to kind of a split motion where people are coming into you, there's going to be a bigger need for service. There's going to be a bigger need for that concierge type, service on the back end. So if someone's just buying online, which a lot of people do want to buy online now, so they don't necessarily have to talk to a salesperson, you need high-level service people. You need high-level people that can upsell that account later and find opportunities. Let's make it easy. Let's build our marketing and sales process for the buyer, not for what's best for us as sales teams and sales people, but what's the process that they want to follow. If they want to get information on their own time, if they're ready to buy on their own time because they've moved in that market and they don't have to talk to a salesperson, let's allow them to do that. There's a lot of vendors out there that allow you to put some of your premium inventory online, or your ticket packages online, group tickets, and allow people to just buy and self-serve when they want to, and make it a much more efficient process, and that's more profitable for the organization and more profitable just for the business and more efficient for the sales team. So those are a few things, and I think they all kind of tie to the same theme. There's an increase in data so we can make more informed decisions. There's more technology out there that can streamline some of our processes, and some of those more administrative type tasks, those can be automated now. And there's a real big movement to be more profitable as an organization and have more of a cohesive collective unit and that integrated go-to-market team at the executive level who's very close to the business. A lot more leaders are actively selling. A lot more vice presidents are actively involved in the sales role because there isn't necessarily need for someone to sit at the top and kind of be the liaison across all the different orgs. Like, they're talking enough as it is, and all involved in the process. Like, you need people who are in there with the team, actively selling at the leadership level as well. So maybe your team's a little smaller, but you have high-level individual contributors who make up for what 2 or 3 salespeople would have brought in these large, sales teams that we've seen throughout over the years within sports. Again, those are just my thoughts, my opinions. Love to, if someone challenges that, or if someone agrees, disagrees, definitely want to get a conversation going around that, because as we look to grow and develop within this industry, we definitely should be sharing these thoughts, these best practices, not just within our teams and in our markets, or in our leagues and our markets, but across the entire industry, because there's a lot of people doing some really cool things. And as I have conversations and I see those, I definitely want to highlight those and share that with the community, so that one, those people get their shine, but we also get better as an industry. So appreciate you guys tuning in, checking this out. Again, share, comments, thoughts, feedback. Next week I'll have a different topic that we talk through, thinking kind of that transition from B2C to B2B, or kind of the difference between the two. I think it's pretty similar, but there's some intricacies that I think for sales leaders and sales people you can really focus on and know when you're talking to a B2C buyer versus a B2B buyer or prospect, the differences between the two. So if you have thoughts on things you want to hear me talk about, let me know. But everyone have a great day, great week, and we'll see you next week with the next video. Thanks.